has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
It's pain-free Friday. Ferrall's doling out minutes on a mahogany, waxing it up. 100, 200, the bad seed, the bad apple with a bad attitude. We are live in New York City, the Big Apple. Ooh, people dressed in plastic bags, directing traffic, some kind of fashion shake-it-up, along with the esteemed Prime Minister Cam Stewart live in Toronto today, filling in for Carver High, who's in the second round of the Cape Cod Irish Open, hammered again on the golf course, pounding 40s of Bud Light. Thank God we've got the mayor of Ontario as well, the one and only Cam Stewart live, the raging redhead as well. The rundown today, Morency, a double shot, I believe, from Lipstick City, because he's going to game one of the World Series tonight at Chavez Ravine. So he's going to hook up with us from L.A. That sounds awesome. Plus, it's me, Gino Bicola from the Daily Racing Form with his Saturday ponies and his NFL picks for the week. Plus, in the second hour, Terry Bowden, our college football analyst. And also in the second hour, Dr. Zhivago, Dr. David Chow from SIC, Sports Injury Central in SoCal, breaking down all the injuries around the league heading into week 8 of the NFL Pain Day scene. And last night we saw it as the Rams beat the Vikings. Cam, obviously, this is what happens, I think. When you lose to the Lions, it's either you go lose another game, or teams that haven't lost, once they lose, then they start losing. Like the Saints, they won those first 2 games by 50, and then they haven't won a game since.
Great call, Scott. I'll tell you one, too, that travel. After the game, you're going there, traveling all the way to Southern California and Los Angeles there, and I got to admit, the Vikings killed themselves in that game. I know we'll talk about the controversial play at the end of the game, but bad penalties on third downs, and that's what it is, right? Detroit, every team they're beating, the next week those other teams get beat down, and it's a hard travel spot off 3 days.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There were missed calls at the end of the game, but did it matter? I don't think it mattered. They beat them by 10, and I thought Stafford had it all going. Their offense had it all going. They put up almost 400 yards. He threw 4 tutties, and that was a big win for them. They're 3-4 now, and they've won a couple games in a row, and they've got Puka Shells and Cup, I guess, healthy, and at least they played. And I haven't believed any of the rumors I heard about Cup going to the Steelers. Yesterday, I said that on C2C. I'm like, the Steelers have been getting every guy. They were getting Ayuk. They were getting Adams. They were getting Cup. They're getting Jesus. I mean, the Steelers never do anything. They don't do deals. They don't do trade. When is all this happening? It's not happening. And then basically after the game, the Rams said, I think McVay basically said they don't want to get rid of Cup. They have no plans to get rid of Cup. Do you believe that?
I'm not sure. The contract's big, Scott, and I know they have a lot of young players with the veteran guys, but here's the deal. The Seattle Seahawks, my team, is 4-3 in the division. Everybody else is 3-4. They're right there. They're 1 game back. Seattle, they're by no stretch are a great team. San Francisco's struggling. Why would you rip this thing apart? You said it, Scotty. For an old guy, Stafford's amazing. He's been concussed with the Lions, hit bad. Absolutely smoked. He comes back for more. The plays he makes, man, that guy's a great quarterback and tough. So, no, I don't want to trade these guys if I'm the Rams. You actually have a chance to win the division.
Yeah, I thought the Vikings would play better last night and win that game, and they didn't. So that's that. Last night you saw Klay Thompson make his, official debut with the Mavericks, because in the preseason he was awful. I mean, he had over donut nights where he just stunk it up, but he didn't stink last night. He got involved. He had 22, and he was hitting threes, and Luka did his magic, and they won that game by 11. They were laying 8.5 over the Spurs. And Wembanyama really didn't do anything in that game.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking, Scott. I'll tell you, Dallas, man, they're a scary team. I have futures on Oklahoma City. We'll talk about them. But, man, if this guy's on fire, I like the Dallas Mavericks. I think they're a very good basketball team. You're right. Spurs were lingering there. Victor didn't do his thing, and they cover a big number.
The Thunder went to Denver and spanked the Nuggets. I'm not surprised at all at what the Thunder are capable of. Holmgren had a monster game. So did Shai Gilgeous. But it's the other side that I have to worry about is what is wrong with the Denver Nuggets right out of the gates, getting smacked like that and having 87 points.
I'm with you, Scott. I think this is the year Denver regresses. Jokic cares about his standard-bred horses instead of, you know what I mean? He doesn't even look like, okay, basketball, my second favorite. I'm worried about my horse getting the proper hay and running. That's what he gets more excited for his horse than any type of basketball game. I'll tell you, Scotty, Oklahoma City, I got futures on these guys. SGA is prime minister. He's my guy. He's in the cabinet with me. I love this team. I think they can win it all, buddy. And I bought a ticket on them at the start of the year.
Yeah, I want them to be in the final. I want, at the very least, I want the Thunder to win the West. Speaking of the West, tonight in Los Angeles, it's game 1 of the World Series, and we've all been licking our chops for the Dodgers and the Yankees. And if you have no interest in this World Series, you're living on an island. This will be the most popular World Series in years. It's been 43 years since they played in the World Series. They faced each other 12 times in the World Series. They have more Hall of Famers than they have Hall of Famers. Both teams are loaded with them in Cooperstown. The history of the game runs through both franchises. They're the two biggest brands in baseball, without a doubt. And it starts with Flaherty against Garrett Cole. Are you excited for the festivities at Dodger Stadium? I know that your boy Gabe will be drinking Dodgeritas.
Yes, Dodgeritas, the drink of choice. You know, Scotty already comes prepared with bags of smoke. He's going to be bartended, bud-tendered. He's going to get lit tonight. I can't wait. I was excited about the Royals and the Yankees. Hell yeah, I'm excited about this World Series. There's nothing like playoff baseball. This is fantastic, Scotty. The networks are happy. We're happy. Everybody's happy. Dodgers, Yankees should be a good one. I got the Dodgers in 6. I know you and Carver are my guys, but I just think they're a little too deep. But, hey, the Yankees, if Cole does well, this thing could go to the distance.
What a travesty that I got to listen to the Prime Minister.
Sorry, pal. You know we're all friends. Oh, you'll listen to Gabe. You're going to listen to Gabe in a couple minutes. More Dodger propaganda.
And he's another one.
Yes, I'm not a Dodger fan at all. I just I care about my money, Scott, so I can come visit in New York and we go to a Devils game again.
What is happening here? I woke up in a good mood. I don't know what the hell happened. So Tua Tagovailoa has been cleared to go seek his 5th concussion in the NFL. So he's not going to wear the Guardian cap. They're saying now that he's wearing the most expensive helmet money can buy, with the most padding that money can buy, and that he's safe. Yeah, and I want to own some of those horses that Joker owns.
Yeah,
Listen,
me too.
I'm telling you, I do not believe for 1 minute that this guy can continue to play in the NFL without having more concussions.
I mean, you're right, Scott. And the thing is, when you've been concussed before I have, this guy's done it multiple times. The next one could be the end of him. I'd like to leave football like Barry Sanders. You walk away and you can still walk. So, hey, Tua's his own man, though. He's a grown man. He wants to play the game he loves. And if he goes down, he goes down. But I'm worried for him, too.
Megatron and Barry Sanders in the Quitters Club. We'll talk about that later.
Yep.
Morency next. From LA, it's Coast to Coast.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York team has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people. What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
He's no fool. You've already heard me say 5 billion times he's on at 10 every night, East, 7 West, and it's easy to find him. So I'm not going through that again today because he has once again mastered the art of manipulation with staying at the same hotel that we stayed at for the Super Bowl in LA, which is relatively close to Dodger Stadium. He's like 15 minutes away from the ballpark in an Uber. He's good to go. And the all-you-can-eat breakfast, they have it all going at that place. And they have a bar in that place that cooks at nighttime. And we've had our swerve on in there. He's going to Game 1 of the World Series tonight at Dodger Stadium to see Flaherty and the Cy Young winner, Cole, Yankees and Dodgers. Look at him. He's all ready to go.
It's finally here. It feels like it's been a long week of anticipation to start this World Series. The weather is beautiful. It's picture perfect. You're going to see on TV tonight. It's going to be one of those special LA nights. First pitch temperature expected to be 76 degrees. There's not a cloud in the sky right now as I look out the window. And yeah, Scott, as you know the area. You basically pull into the hood from the area, and then you turn right, you go up the hill.
Right.
At the stadium. It's about 13-minute drive in the middle of the night, like no traffic type thing. It's about a 12 to 15. It's that close. But today I'm expecting it to turn in like to a 45-minute. I'm not even going to say an hour. I want to exaggerate, but it'll probably take me 30, 45 minutes from door to door to finally get. And as anyone knows, it's not easy. Dodger Stadium's on top of a hill, for real. There's no choice. You got to walk up that hill. Like, you know what I mean? Because there's so much traffic. You get out of your Uber, and you walk up the rest of the hill. So it's a little production to get in and out of there. But it's got, once you're there, isn't it very similar to the Rose Bowl, Scott? Like, when you walk through the concourse and you step into the field level of Dodger Stadium, and you see the seats that are mirrored of a beach and the ocean, that's the why they're the colors that they are. And the San Gabriel Mountains behind, you just can't beat it. It's very similar to the Rose Bowl, where this is as good as it gets. I know Yankee Stadium is the cathedral, or at least it was, the old one. I am not going to dispute that, right? It has so much history, but just as far as just perfectness, Dodger Stadium, you can't top it, Scott.
Well, it's like Disneyland. It is maintained. It's pristine.
Yeah, it's so bright, huh? Everything is bright.
It's
the
just
colors,
it's never aged. Like, the thing's been there forever, and it's still as nice as it was when it opened. It reminds me of Disneyland. When you go to Disneyland, you could go when you were a little kid, and you could go as an old man, and it's still beautiful. It's still magnificent. It's pristine. They're two of the greatest places to go on earth for sports fans is the Rose Bowl and Dodger Stadium. There's just no getting around it. And particularly tonight for a World Series game. So you've heard all you can handle about Flaherty. And, yesterday they started with it as velocity's down. I don't know who started that. I'd hate to hear that if I was him, to be honest with you. He's got to worry about the Yankees.
And I've heard his velocity was down a little bit, and I've heard that too. People are going to overanalyze. We're going to analyze everything right now, and it's true. He went from like 95 at one point, and he was averaging about 91 in his third start. But it should be noted, we've had a long time off, Scott, for this World Series. I would throw all that stuff out. I mean, all those, we've heard this a lot. All the Dodger pitchers are worn out. They're running on fumes. Dude, they've had a long layoff. They last played on Sunday. So they've had all week to energize and recharge the arms. So I would expect Flaherty, all systems go. You saw in his first start against the Mets, he was unhittable. The second start, they got him. So, who's going to get hit first tonight, Scott? It's going to be a home run early. We know it, right? Garrett Cole is vulnerable to giving up the long ball early in baseball games. Flaherty is vulnerable to it as well. Flaherty's worst inning is generally the first inning. We've seen Cole get hit early. So which team is going to be able to step up and break the nerves and break the ice? One of the reasons I like the Dodgers in this series is they have so many players, Scott, that have been there and done it before. The Yankees don't, right? I mean, how many guys on the Yankees have won a World Series before? Soto has. Like how many other guys? I'm thinking about the Dodgers. Like Mookie Betts won with the Red Sox. He won with the Dodgers. Freddie Freeman won with the Braves. He won with the Dodgers. Kiki Hernandez. You've got Ohtani, Scott, won the Japanese League. Ohtani has won the World Baseball Classic. He's won everything that he's been in before. And now he's knocking on the door of his first World Series and his first playoffs. I can get deeper, too. Basically the Dodgers have guys that have been there and done that. To me, Garrett Cole is the key for the Yankees. If Garrett Cole pitches like an ace 2 times, potentially 3, but let's say 2 times, the Yankees have a legitimate shot at doing this. Aaron Judge, we know, can he heat up a little bit? Some numbers to throw at you guys, though, as far as Juan Soto. And I got a long shot pick on Yamamoto, Scott, to win the MVP at 125-1. Yamamoto's going to go twice in this series. They got him, game 2, game 6. So, if we get 6, which we most likely will, Yamamoto pitched 1 time against the Yankees this year. And it was at Yankee Stadium. It was a 2-1 Dodger win. And he went 7 innings. He only gave up 2 hits, and he struck out 7 Yankees. All right, Yamamoto's a load if you don't know him. For the record, Soto didn't play in that game. Soto is only 3 for 18 in his career against Flaherty and Walker Buehler. So there's just, there's a lot of sort of, what's weird too? Aaron Judge has never faced Flaherty before in his career. Neither has Stanton. There's a lot of little variables and I think advantage for the Dodger pitchers that people aren't really looking at. So I'm confident with the Dodgers pitching, Scott. It's just, who's going to be the hero, bro? Is it going to be Soto? Is it going to be Judge? Is it going to be Edman? Is it going to be, is it going to be Torres? I can't wait to see this script play out, bro.
They have, in 78, the Yankees lost the first 2 games out there, and they still won the series. In 81, the Dodgers lost the first 2 games, and they won the series. They won the next 4.
Yeah. You know what, Scott? I love this stuff. I've been reading about 1941 and 47 and 55 and blah, blah, all of them. Dude, I swear to God, Scott, it's been like 7 times the teams have been up 2-0 in this series. I'm glad you brought that up. That's the big history when these teams play.
It really is crazy.
And then the other team wins.
Yeah.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
That kid on the two-point conversion play was wide open on the right side of the end zone, and the kid threw it about 15 rows over his head.
People crystallized Georgia and Alabama. They put them on the shelf above everyone else, and they're just not there this year. I thought the kid Beck was great on Saturday, but they barely beat Mississippi State, who is porous.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Obviously, Morency has quite the weekend planned, starting with tonight. He's already talking about his criminal endeavors, going to Dodger Stadium to deal with the security at Chavez Ravine. They're not interested in people smoking anything of any sort, of any kind, of any substance or otherwise, cigarettes, dope, vapes, anything, blunts, not happening. And this makes Morency very upset. So I've been trying to convince him that he needs to, get his swerve on the way to the stadium and around Dodger Stadium out in the parking lot. He told me the last time he went there, he stashed it by a tree when he went into the stadium. And he came back out after the game, and it was still there, and he was good to go. And I said, maybe the inside of a wheel of someone's car, just make sure you get out. He's right in right field. He can get out of the stadium fast. When the game's over, just get to that car and grab it, and you're good to go. Plus, he's gallivanting off to Seattle tomorrow to stay at the Indian Reservation Casino to gamble heavily. Here he is again. We've got him. Now, I think that, I've given you sound advice. Stash it under a wheel, in a rim. You're right in right field. You'll be the first one out of the stadium. You go right to that car, get your swag, and you're off and running. Smoke all the way in, stash, game over, smoke all the way back to the hotel. You're golden. I've seen you at the hotel before, standing out. They got that giant walkway across the turnaround in that parking lot by the parking garage.
Yeah, I just did a video.
There's 15 million tables with seats. I used to sit over there, do the same
We just
thing.
did a video giving some pics, video for tonight's game actually out there with all the palm trees.
Yeah.
So a lot of palm trees here. So, yeah, you know what? It's what a night here tonight. You got the Lakers are playing the Phoenix Suns at the Crypt. So it's the Lakers' second game, and the Lakers had, of course, won their season opener. USC and Rutgers, that's sort of flying under the radar. There's a massive high school football game tonight at SoFi. The Black Eyed Peas.
You could go to the USC game, Screw that high school football game. You could go see Rutgers USC. I bet that's a cheap ticket.
Yeah, well, I already spent a lot for the baseball ticket.
So,
I also could have went to the last night too, but I didn't.
So what? You're just gonna go back to the hotel and watch the games, the Laker game and the USC game on TV?
No, you know what? Well, hopefully I can get out of there pretty quickly after. There's if you pay, there's like private sort of. There's people waiting with like SUVs. Like you pay $100 and $150. They'll take you wherever you want to go to get the hell out of there. But I'd like to see tonight, Scott. After that's the whole thing. Like I said, I haven't had a single drink on this trip. I did the show last night. I woke up early, like 7:30 in the morning. But yeah, we got to enjoy ourselves a little bit here. I am a responsible adult, but I got World Series. I came all the way here. I got to have a little fun. But I'm already thinking, I'm like, oh, God, I got to leave the hotel at like 8 in the morning to go to Seattle tomorrow for the Bills game. And it's going to be super cool, too, though. And that's my backyard, too. So for me, like the Seattle back to Vancouver after is no big deal after. That's like, it's less than an hour flight. It's like, okay, fine. So like the last sort of obstacle, Scott, for me will be, getting blasted tonight. The old 7:30, you know what it's like, dude. It's like in Vegas, the old.
I don't go to bed.
I got to go to the airport.
I don't go to bed. I just stay up. I get hammered and I just ride it out. I take like a shower at 3 in the morning. I'm watching Formula One. I'm rocking on the bed.
Formula One song.
In the hotel room. I go to the airport 5 a.m., bro. I'm on that 7 a.m. flight back to New York. Because if you pass out, you'll sleep right through it, and then you'll really have problems getting back. But you need to get to Seattle tomorrow morning. No big deal. Party tonight. Go to the airport, and then go. Like, I know you're excited to see the Bills. That's going to be a great game. Do you think they handle the wood on the road at Lumen Field?
I don't think it's going to be easy. The Bills, for whatever reason, the Bills are generally a very good road team. They haven't been this year. They weren't good. They were good in Miami, but so what? That was early in the season. They got drilled in Baltimore. They didn't play well in Houston. We've seen a pattern with Josh Allen this year, struggling on the road. But there's going to be a ton of Bill fans. There really will be. I know for a fact because I bought the ticket and I sold a ticket. Like Bills Mafia, there's a ton of fans on the West Coast and they get out here often. So let's get it done, baby. Let's get it done. Let's get it done.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
That kid on the two-point conversion play was wide open on the right side of the end zone, and the kid threw it about 15 rows over his head.
People crystallized Georgia and Alabama. They put them on the shelf above everyone else, and they're just not there this year. I thought the kid Beck was great on Saturday, but they barely beat Mississippi State, who is porous.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Morency off the game 1 of the World Series tonight. I think the last thing I'd say to him is he's like talking about going over there, be there by 4. And I think he thinks leave at 3. I think leave at 2 based on it gets real bad at 3. And it's bad at 2, but it gets real bad at 3. And at 4 o'clock, you're just going to be late. You're going to be late to the game. So I would leave if I were him at 2 o'clock, which is 3 hours before that game starts. And then I think he can get there in 35 minutes from where he is. I know exactly where he is. It's not far. It's 15 minutes from that hotel if there's no traffic, which there's no such thing in Southern California. And you've stayed there with me.
Yeah.
Cam, the Prime Minister with us today. You know where it is. It's close to Dodger Stadium.
We could have walked. Remember that? We're sitting there in traffic. I'm going, what the cars overturned on the freeway? I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, we're just like, that was the best. We drive by a guy, he's got a parrot on his shoulder in the car. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? That was the best. You're on fire, Ferrall.
So let's talk about last night's game again. The Rams beat the Vikings 30-20 on Thursday Night Football. Stafford threw for 279, 4 tutties, a pick. Darnold was pretty, effective himself, 242 tutties. Kyron Williams, 97 yards, a 19 receiving, and a red zone tutty. Puka Shells, 106 yards. Kupp, 5 catches, 51 yards, a tutty. Demarcus Robinson, 35 yards, 2 tutties. Justin Jefferson recorded his 31st game with 100-plus receiving yards in his first 5 seasons to pass Randy Moss. Here's Sam Darnold getting sacked in the end zone for a safety and an uncalled face mask miss by the refs on Amazon Prime.
Darnold, look out, safety. Byron Young takes him down to the end zone. Rams seal it. They had 2, and it's 30-20.
Now, I thought the face mask, something happened to Darnold. Maybe he grabbed underneath and got the jersey, but something made Darnold, his head go back with his pressure. Remember we said the left side is where this pressure is going to come from. Fisk takes the tackle. Young works through, and he got a hold of something there. Let's see.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Cam, that they don't miss very much because they throw so many flags. It's amazing to me that on a play that deep in the red zone, that deep near the end zone, that much trouble that you're in that position, that the refs would screw that up. I think he definitely got his face mask and his head yanked off, and they missed it.
Oh, big time. Like, I was looking at him going, oh, my God, how's his neck doing? It was a big face mask. And you see the line judge there, Scott. He's right behind him. What was he looking at? Like, you know what I mean? I couldn't believe it either. And it's kind of weird that you can't challenge these things, but that's the way the league likes it. They like controversy, but that was ridiculous. Like, Darnold, that was a huge face mask, and I don't know how they missed it.
All right, Kevin O'Connell talking about the sack in the end zone and what he saw. Here's the Vikings coach.
Yeah, it looked like he got a pretty good amount of face mask there. Not going to get into, the call or no call and all that stuff. It's just, I told our team, officiating and all that stuff, like, for us to talk about that, for us to seek comfort in that is not how we're going to respond to this. It's just not going to happen. And I'm going to do the same thing right now. I really don't have a comment on whether it looked like he got a piece of the face mask, but they didn't think so they didn't throw the flag.
That's funny. I'm not going to talk about it being a face mask, but I'm going to say that he had a big piece of his face mask.
Exactly. But I like O'Connell, though. It's a smart move because some of these guys bitch at the referees all the time. Maybe they'll get a call their way if he stays cool, because a lot of guys just rip these guys all the time.
Yeah, I don't think so. The NFL never does anything to the refs. They think they're wonderful. Meanwhile, they suck. Here's Sean McVay talking about Kupp.
There's a lot of information. Here's what I'll tell you. Teams reached out. Some of the things that I've seen out there, they're just not true. We've addressed that with those individuals. Teams have called about him. And really, we let him know what the dialogue was there. And then there's a lot of stuff out there where there's not a lot of accountability to the reports. And that's unfortunate.
Do you think the performance tonight makes you guys more apt to possibly entertain offers?
Yeah, I don't think about those things. I think about coaching our team. I think a lot of the things that were out there, speculation was exactly what that was, speculation. We're an inside-out organization.
Well, what I've heard is with the accountability and the speculation from now on, what they're going to do is any report that is erroneous, that reporter will be beheaded. They're going to actually do it in a town square at high noon so everyone can watch it, just like in the days of
these
Wyatt
reports are
Earp
bull
and Billy
BS,
the
though.
Kid. What do you think?
In every sport, what do these guys do? There's no journalism. Remember they said Ohtani was going to the Blue Jays? I told Moretz, I go, no, he's not. He's not coming to Toronto. Like, are you nuts? No, it's not happening. In football, no. So guys make up fake trades and they put out reports. Do better. Like, be a journalist. Get the story right. Don't get it wrong to be the first guy to get a wrong story. I love McVay, by the way. I think he's a cool dude.
I think he's on pink cocaine. I mean, he is lit, this guy. he is.
So my way. Anyway, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of McVay. He's the guy.
All right, let's move on to Dave Canales talking about Bryce Young, who will be starting for the Panthers and losing again in short order.
All I can tell you is he's been engaged the whole time. We've had great football conversations during the week, fine-tuning our game plans on Sunday on the sideline, talking through things. So he's been engaged and a part of that whole thing. And so, for me, like this is it's great for him that he approached it with such class and integrity, this hard situation, and now he gets to get back out there and play some football.
Yeah, and every time he's played football, he's been awful, and I think he's going to be running for his life in Denver against that defense. Did you see that line for that game, Cam?
Crazy.
I saw it as high as 10.
Scott, I'm going to tell you, though, I had a real, you talked about the pink cocaine. I had a Panther problem earlier on. That was my drug earlier on in the season, and I got off it. I'm clean. I'm not going back to these guys. I don't care how many points I'm getting, whatever. I don't want to lay 10 with Denver. No, thank you. But honestly, Carolina's an unbettable team. That's how bad they are. Deontay Johnson, I think, is confirmed out for this game now, their best receiver. He's going to get murdered more than Dalton did, my ginger buddy. So, no, it's Denver or nothing for me. I'm done with the Panthers. Their ownership group's it's a clown show. It's like they're trying to lose. It's worse than Major League. No, the guy's an idiot. Straight up.
Let's move on to the Eagles. Sirianni is talking about how the game plan changes depending on what works, whatever that means.
I think, again, we do what we need to do to win each game. There's going to be a game where we have to I'm sorry, guys. We're going to have to pass it a bunch. There's going to be a game we're going to have to run it again like that. And so it's all going to be week to week. Again, you want to stay in things that you do well, and but everything's going to be week to week based off of what's going right that week, and so we'll see as the year progresses.
Who do you like in that game in the jungle against the Bengals?
One of the toughest games of the week, Scotty. I'm taking Cincinnati, but I don't love it. I think they'll probably win by 3 or 4, and that line's 2.5. Very close to the number. But give me the Bengals at home.
That's amazing. That 61% chance it says there for them to win, considering the fact that the Eagles suddenly have been playing terrific on both sides of the ball. Bettors, though, still believe in the Bengals. Look at this. Odds to make the playoffs still. Look at that. It's minus 115. Everyone thinks the Bengals are still making the playoffs. Do you think they'll make the playoffs?
I think they'll just squeak in. I do. I think they're going to get better as the season progresses, but that defense needs to be cleaned up. It's not very good, but the offense will pick up.
So I think the Ravens and Steelers, the winner of the North, the loser will get a wild card. That would mean that the Bengals would get the other wild card. I'm not buying that. I'm just not. I don't think both of them will. I think one of them will. That's like saying the East and the South suck, and none of those teams have a chance to go as a wild card. I don't buy it.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night, I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
That kid on the two-point conversion play was wide open on the right side of the end zone, and the kid threw it about 15 rows over his head.
People crystallized Georgia and Alabama. They put them on the shelf above everyone else, and they're just not there this year. I thought the kid Beck was great on Saturday, but they barely beat Mississippi State, who is porous.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, we continue talking about Pain Day, Skinny with the Prime Minister, the Raging Redhead, Cam Stewart, live in Toronto. He's also an ambassador for Ontario, the whole Ontario. He runs that as well. I just wanted you to know that. He's very busy. Baker Mayfield, I think they called him the Prince of Ontario at one time in his life. The Prince, they called him. He didn't like it because he was a big fan of the Fresh Prince. Baker Mayfield says that he's still confident in his receivers. Here he is lying after he's lost Evans and Godwin.
Oh, yeah. I'll be extremely confident in those guys. You know, it's obviously had rapport with Trey going back to last year, Sterling for years, obviously, and Jalen all offseason and training camp. So, yeah, it's just I expect those guys to have success and play really well. And, you know, throughout the week, getting on the same page within the game plan as we continue to nail this thing down. And, yeah, we expect everybody to step up in a big way and, you know, still leaning on our offensive line. Thought they played great. You know, obviously the past few weeks, I think they played really well, and backs continue to play well. So it's just going to be a full group effort. It's going to look different, but that's okay. And, you know what? It'll be a little bit more creative, and we'll have some fun with it.
Listen, I love Baker Mayfield, Cam,
So do
but
I.
I got to tell you, this could be a quick 2-loss hit for them off of the Baltimore game. Baltimore's flat out better than the Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers are a really good team, actually. I like him as a quarterback. But without those guys, they will not be the same. I don't care what anybody says. And they're playing Atlanta. Now, this is an opportunity for Atlanta. The only thing that they got going for them is they're playing this game at Raymond James. But, I mean, they got a lot of injuries. So Atlanta's got to take advantage of that, no?
Yes, good call, Scotty. And remember, last time Atlanta beat them at home in overtime, they came back in that game. If Atlanta can't beat Tampa Bay with these injuries, they don't deserve to do anything. They got murdered by the Seahawks last week. I watched it. They have no pass rush. So Tampa Bay does have a chance in this game. But I got to tell you, those receivers, man, they're young. And I'll tell you, Baker can make some mistakes. He relies on Evans and Godwin, and he throws picks. So if the Falcons can't win this week, they're toast. But I like Atlanta to get it done this week.
I don't doubt that Mayfield can still throw strikes to other guys.
Mm-hmm.
I still think he can have success. I think they'll definitely be in the game. But Atlanta has to take advantage of this. And if they don't, they'll rue the day that they didn't. Moving on to Houston, C.J. Stroud talking about how they can bounce back off of the loss at Lambeau to the Packers. They got a home game at NRG on Sunday.
Yeah, I think it's a check of life, you know. Not everything goes your way, and it's all about how you respond. So for me, I just watch the film, be critical on myself, and just get better from there, and be critical on the offense, and got to be pushing guys and holding guys accountable. But at the same time, the sun comes up the next day, and you got to realize that you learn from your mistakes, you move on, and you just continue to grow in grace. So that's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna hold our heads high, even though we know like that wasn't good enough. But we know that we're a really good football team. We're going to go put that on film, whatever we got to. So, yeah, I definitely understand, but, I'm definitely not harping on the past and just, look to the future and just get better.
Tomorrow. I thought he'd never stop.
I don't know what happened there, but all I know is this. Houston's been a disappointment, Scotty, and they got to take care of business against the Colts. The Colts should have lost to Miami, but Miami's so damn bad. You talk about McDaniel hitting the vape pen. Good plan off your bye. Let's give the ball to Jonnu Smith and Ingold, our fullback. You can't even get it to Tyreek Hill and Waddle. Ah, man, that guy drives me nuts. Anyway, I like the Texans this week. I don't know if they're going to cover the 5.5.
Well, look, they're still 5-2. They haven't been that bad. They lost at Lambeau. A lot of people lose at Lambeau. The thing is about this game is that I'm not impressed at all, frankly, with Richardson and the Colts. I mean, I think they're drab.
They are. I don't even know how they won that game against Miami. Miami absolutely killed themselves. 2 fumbles inside the 5. Houston should be able to take care of business, but people are betting the Colts, Scott, line down from 6-5 in some spots.
Well, that's unfortunate. All right, let's move to Caleb Williams. He's going to be playing this weekend at the Dump in Landover, but there's not going to be any Daniels playing for the Commanders. Here's Caleb talking about his relationship with Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, obviously I've been around Cliff, great guy, great coach. He's if you go and ask all the guys over there at the Commanders now, sorry. I've known him as the Redskins all my life, growing up there. But the Commanders, you go over and ask all the players, and they say they love him probably because he's a player's coach, and so knowing him, knowing how much he loves football and things like that, it just brings joy to his players and things like that. So it was I've texted him back and forth every once in a while, like great game, this and that, and he's done the same. So it's been cool building that relationship with him in college, and then obviously being a pro, about to go play against him.
Yeah, whatever. He had a cool house when he was the coach in Arizona. That's about the gist of it. Do you think? Without Daniels, I think the Bears can win this game in the Dump in Landover.
We'll see. I'm with you on the Bears, but it's not going to be an easy out. Mariota played pretty well, but we'll see this week against Chicago.
Defense.
Yeah, they're getting better every week. The Bears are scary. I like the Bears as well to get it done.
Honestly, I think they're going to mess with Mariota. I think he's going to be running for his life. Here is the Patriots coach talking about the players don't care at all about the fact that he called them soft.
Look, after the game, we're all disappointed. On a long plane ride home, we're all disappointed. And again, it's about getting to Wednesday so we can now focus on the next target. And the guys have good juice, expecting a good practice, and we'll see how it looks on Sunday.
Would you want a reaction out of them? Like, in some ways, would you want them to get mad, for instance? Like, are you trying to do that with some of those comments?
Look, I'm just telling you, like when I talk after games, it's about what I see out there on the field at that current time.
What about how bad you guys suck?
In saying that, like the guys are preparing like it's any other week, and we're talking about the Jets.
Honestly, they suck so bad. Who cares what he calls them? Honestly, they have one win.
They're keep losing, Scotty. Under 4.5 season win total. Give me the Jets, even though they suck too.
It still is, right? Like that ticket is alive. You and Carver High under 4.5 is still alive, baby.
That's
we
funny.
got so much to do on this show. I'm losing weight.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
That kid on the two-point conversion play was wide open on the right side of the end zone, and the kid threw it about 15 rows over his head.
People crystallized Georgia and Alabama. They put them on the shelf above everyone else, and they're just not there this year. I thought the kid Beck was great on Saturday, but they barely beat Mississippi State, who is porous.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
It's me, Gino B, on Fridays on Coast to Coast. Gino Bacola from the Daily Racing Form. And like I said, you can follow him on X at It's Me, Gino B. And I know he's getting ready for next week, which is what really makes us horny, the Breeders' Cup, which is Friday and Saturday at Del Mar. But you're going to be doing a show Wednesday, 4 to 7 on SportsGrid. Look at this. Oh, the Breeders' Cup handicap special on the grid on Wednesday at 4 to 7 East. You're styling.
What everybody wanted, more of this face right here on SportsGrid. If you don't see enough of it on Friday, you're going to get 3 more hours of it on Wednesday. I know that's what you love, Scotty, and we'll be talking about all of the 14 Breeders' Cup races for Friday and for Saturday. So we'll have a preview show for every single race. This will be great for whatever level of horse racing fan you are. If you're someone that's hardcore, we'll give you some prices to use in races that may not be on your radar. If you're someone who just wants some help and just being led to a few to play throughout the day, that's what will get you some Pick 5 previews and everything right here on SportsGrid next week on Wednesday, 4 to 7 Eastern. But we got some money to be made right now. And actually today on Friday, there is a Pick 6 carryover at Santa Anita, $153,000 carried over into the Pick 6. That's going to go in just a couple hours. It's going to start. So figured we could give people a couple horses for Friday at Santa Anita that they may want to throw in. They're back-to-back races today. First one is race number 7. We're going to go to the number 1 Bottle Rocket. This is a lightly raced horse, kind of an up-and-coming horse, and is facing a group of horses that are all kind of grinders and plotters, and you kind of know what you're going to get from them. I think this horse is going to be sent aggressively from the inside. 5 to 1, Scotty, for our first play at Santa Anita on Bottle Rocket.
And in the 8th race,
we're going to go right next door to the one again. Epione is a horse who's been really good on the dirt. And if you just focus in on the dirt form overall, much better. Another horse who's going to give us 5 to 1 odds. So a couple for you to use in your Pick 6 today before we head to tomorrow at Keeneland.
All right, so let's go to Kentucky and Keeneland on Saturday and start with the 8th race.
Yeah, it's closing day there. Race number 8, there's not a whole lot of speed in that race. The number 8 Hit Show is the horse to beat. The 2 Tumbarumba and the 9 Grand Aspen, they're going to be horses that will be forwardly placed. And the 9 is 10 to 1 on the morning line and should be sitting a really good trip throughout. So that's a horse you want to put a few bucks on and throw into your exotics. And then we'll parlay that right on up in the 9th race with the number 3 Hershey, who is a horse who had some trouble last time out, and that one is 12 to 1. So a couple really nice price horses to throw into some of your late bets tomorrow at Keeneland.
So, trouble its last time out, but then you think it'll turn it around for this race?
Yeah, it was just kind of stuck in traffic in behind horses, has a great running style, so always puts himself in the race, just got a little bit trapped in traffic, and most of the time, it's a process over the result, right? You just figure if you're in the same spot, getting that same trip over and over, and the horse is a little bit undervalued because of that trouble last time out.
All right, let's look at your NFL play for Sunday, and it's dipping into that game at Hard Rock down in Miami.
You like this one, too. Yeah, I think you like this play because I don't know what we're going to get from Tua. God bless him. He's had some real serious injuries to deal with, but how much can we expect from him coming back? And if there's any sort of incident with Tua, if he's shaken up at all, they have to be very careful with him and pull him immediately. Even if you had a 100% Tua, how good overall is this Miami team this year? Defensively, I think Arizona's going to be able to run the ball on this Miami defense. So even if we had a 100% Tua at around 4.5, I think it's a little bit too much for an Arizona team that can definitely jump up and win this game or keep it within a field goal for sure.
All right, so another homerized milquetoast Dodger fan is Gino, along with Morency, and of course Cam also betting on the Dodgers against my Yankees. So what do you think happens in these first two games at Dodger Stadium this weekend?
Well, I'll give you the analysis without my homerism, too. Two really good baseball teams. If it comes down to a bullpen game, I think you lean Dodgers. If the starters are better for the Yankees have the better starters on on paper. So I think that's right there the real key to the matchup. Can the Dodgers get a little bit of length out of Flaherty, out of Yamamoto, out of Buehler? Can those guys get you into innings 5 or 6? Then it gives you the really strong back end of the Dodgers bullpen. We already found out, though, they're going to be without one of those big 4 arms they have. Phillips is not on the bullpen on the Dodgers roster. He was one of the really strong arms. They had like 4 closers that they could lock down with. So that actually impacts their bullpen a little bit, not having one of those real lockdown guys there at the end.
I hear that Gino's mom is making him homemade Dodgeritas tonight for game 1, and he'll be hammered by the 4th inning. Enjoy the games, man. And good luck with the ponies tonight and tomorrow at Keeneland as well, Gino. Thanks, buddy.
Tonight in LA, Dodgers, Lakers, USC. There's a high school football game at SoFi. There's a concert. Huge night.
Screw you, Gino. Screw you, Gino.
Guardians, despite being at home in the land, were a home underdog against Tarek Skubal. Enter Lane Thomas, maybe one of the under-the-radar trade deadline acquisitions being dealt from the Nationals. He was huge in the ALDS.
A heavy favorite for the New York Yankees in the series. You're going to look to their best 2 ball players to be those MVPs. That's Juan Soto and it's Aaron Judge.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
That kid on the 2-point conversion play was wide open on the right side of the end zone, and the kid threw it about 15 rows over his head.
People crystallized Georgia and Alabama. They put them on the shelf above everyone else, and they're just not there this year. I thought the kid Beck was great on Saturday, but they barely beat Mississippi State, who is porous.
Ferrall coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.